Niue and Wang Haoyue came because one of their own stopped being one of their own. It didn't die. It got lost. One of the foxes had broken the rules. She mingled with mortals, and the result was a half-demon child. A child that, for its own sake and everyone else's, should be neutralized. Children like that are too easy a prey for the evil forces and too weak to protect themselves. They can be harmed too easily, and they can cause great harm, distributing the balance between the tribe. So the dance gave the sisters one mission: make sure that the problem is gone. We bring her back, Wang Haoyue said, if we can. And if we can't, little moon, we do the other thing. And we don't make a face about it where the humans can see. Niue made a face about it. Wang Haoyue pretended not to notice. They walked into the town of Tangxi at dusk. Two women, with two still shadows of a weird shape, following the smudge to its source, accompanying a merchant on his way home. It took few words and few spells, and by the time they reached the gate, the merchant firmly believed that they were his long-lost cousins, the ones he'd been expecting. The source was the merchant's estate at the top of the town. The estate was not having a good month. Servants walked into walls. A well had gone bitter. The master's youngest talked in his sleep, in a voice 3 sizes too large for him. And now the demon, fat on a fox's stolen shape and a household's stolen fear and hearts. It had settled in like a tenant who'd read the lease and knew you couldn't make him leave. The foxes were not the only ones who'd come for it. They heard the scream first, on the road up. They moved faster. Then they saw the man at the gate, and Wang Haoyue slowed. Hired, clearly, a demon hunter. It was all over his bearing, and at his neck, on a plain cord, hung a pendant that made the air around it sit wrong, the way deep water sits wrong over something sunk. Wang Haoyue looked at the pendant one breath longer than was polite. He caught her at it. "It's not for sale," he said, "and it's not for stealing either before you price the second option." "Lansheng, the owner sent for me." He looked over while introducing himself. "You're not from the temple, you're not from the town, and you walked in like you already knew the way, which means you can feel it, which means you're not really a guest here either." "We're professionally concerned about the screaming," said Wang Haoyue. "Also, we're the owner's family." "So am I." He didn't bother hiding that it was a joke. He knew they weren't what they said they were. "We can be professionally concerned together, or we can waste an hour deciding who's in charge. I'll save us the hour. Neither of us. The thing inside us. It's strong and wild, and it grows with every heart it takes." She didn't smile. She wanted to, which annoyed her. Something about him really did make her want to smile, but there is a complication. The beast is wearing a face of a child. We want it out alive. He didn't argue. He didn't explain why Dad ruined the simple version of his job. He didn't even ask why she'd stopped the act and gone straight to it. He just took it in and recalculated the same way she'd been recalculating since the road. It had been a long time since she'd watched someone think at her speed, and she didn't enjoy how much she liked it. "Harder. It makes things harder," he said, "but it keeps the work interesting." "You would—" "I would. You learn." "Oh, you assume this isn't the last time you'll see of me." "It isn't," he agreed pleasantly. They might have made a plan right there, the two of them, civilly. Then the front third of the wall came down. Niue went down with it, shoved off her feet by whatever had come through. Behind the breach came a great many armed people, fanning into the courtyard, as grim and ready as the two at the gate. The warriors of the immortal sect of the Dragon God. A hand caught her wrist before she hit the ground. It made the fall look almost deliberate. A young lord stepped out of the dust, a sworn woven with magic at his side, moving like a man who'd never once doubted himself. He sat her on her feet. He didn't quite let go of her wrist. "You're not a fox demon," he said. He sounded interested. "And you're more graceful than your entrance promised." She took the wrist back. She held his eyes the way she would hold a hand of cards she'd already counted. Her voice was sweet. "You brought down the wall." "I was efficient." "You were loud." She smiled more. "Same thing done with enough confidence." He smiled. It was a good smile, and he knew it. "I'm hunting a fox demon. It took something of mine. I'll have it out by midnight." "Then you'll have a dead child by midnight. It's wearing one," she said lightly, like laying down a winning tile, and she watched him, not bothering to hide it to see what he would do. He did the thing she didn't expect. He stopped performing. "A child. A young one. Kill the thing while it's wearing her, and you keep the revenge and the corpse. Both, forever. Congratulations in advance." "Then tell me how not to." Fast, no theatre left in it, and he didn't look away while he said it. She hadn't looked away either. They both caught the other noticing. Neither looked away after that. Before looking away first would have been losing, and somewhere in the last half a minute they both started keeping score. "Yanchen," he said. "Achen to people I end up liking. You seem to be very sure I'll be one of them." "I'm sure of most things. It served me a bit. Less so this last minute." "Too bad your name doesn't match your entrance. There was nothing peaceful about it." She turned toward the well. "Make yourself useful since you're here. It poisoned the water first. That might be where it's hiding." He came. His people moved to follow. He waved them down without looking. The well was around the backyard, bitter and black. The demon had left something of itself in it, a thin film made of fear that grabbed at whoever leaned over and showed them the worst thing they kept folded up inside, trapping them in terror the same way a spider traps a fly before it comes to feast. Achen leaned over, went grey, and stepped back fast. "Don't worry," Niue said. "It's not real. It only knows the shape of fear, not the fear itself." It looked fairly committed to the shape. She watched the film move. "It tried me on the road, showed me a road I've walked too many times." She hadn't meant to say it. It came out flat and worn, the way a thing comes out when you've carried it too long to dress it up anymore. It thinks that's a fear. It isn't. You can't frighten someone with something they grew up with. He looked at her then, properly. The arrogance came off his face, and something more careful took its place. "What does that mean?" "It means find me a cloth and some clean water, and stop looking at me like that." "Like what? Like you've decided something?" "I have," he admitted. "I'll keep it to myself for now. You're busy." She told herself she was relieved. She fetched the cloth herself as well, so he couldn't see her face. On the other side of the estate, Wang Haoyue and Lan Sheng had found the boy with the too large voice. They stood over his cot, having the most efficient argument of either of their lives. Half tactics, half something neither of them was naming, each finishing the other's plan a beat early. "It will bolt to the strongest fear in the house when we corner it," she said. "Which is the boy? Which was the boy? It's the well now." "You felt it pull when you walked the backyard." "The pendant pulls it harder," he said, catching up to where she's already stood. "It wants it." "It seems like it," she agreed. "So we give it something it wants more than the girl, for one breath. And in that breath, my sister does the thing my sister does, and you take the beast down." She looked at him sideways. "You're quick. It's unsettling. I'm not used to being kept up with. I'll try to be slower if that would make you comfortable." "So you think I can't handle?" And there it was again, the small, unwelcome, warm thing in her chest. This time she let it stay a moment before she put it away. By the time the household had cried itself out and gone quiet, the four of them ended up in the same courtyard. Lan Sheng laid it out. Plainness was his thing, the way cunning was Wang Haoyue's. "It isn't a demon, not a born one. It's some sort of evil that finds a crack and moves in. Fear, grief, a soul too young or too thin to hold its own door shut." It doesn't break in. It gets invited the way a dump gets invited by a roof that stopped trying, and it grows. Every heart it takes the strength too. This one has been eating for a month. And the crack, Achin said, was the screaming child, but it's not there anymore, isn't it? The foxes went quiet. Then Wang Hao said it flat because someone had to, and she minded the least. The crack is a half thing, half demon, half human. There is a door in that won't shut, and a scent on it the evil can find from a long way off. Children like that don't get to grow up. The evil reaches them first, always. So in all best result, it's to... She didn't finish. To kill the child, Achin said, before the monster can. The spirit, the child, the monster, depending who you ask. They've never agreed on the word, and I've stopped expecting them to. Achin looked at Niue. She was looking at the ground. It doesn't matter now, he said, gently because it needed to be gentle. The argument's a season too late. It's already reached her. It's wearing her shape. We're not deciding whether to get ahead of it. We're deciding whether anything of the child comes out of the other side. Is it possible? Achin had come 3 towns for a dead monster, and he was finding out, with visible discomfort, that he'd arrived somewhere more complicated. That would require magic, and as far as I'm concerned, demon hunters don't use this type of magic, and me and my people don't know of a spell that could help. It's hard, admitted Lan Sheng, but better, Wang Haoyue cut in. And they did it again. The finishing of each other's sentence and pretended not to notice. What did it take from you? Niue asked the immortal. He was quiet a while. A heart, 3 towns back. Friend I'd told would be safe. The mage keeping him alive until we get the heart back, but with every day the chance is slimmer. It's too late. The heart is probably digested at this point. Then we will use the demon's core to help my friend to restore his. Wang Haoyue went quiet. She noticed something. Ever since the spring began, there's been more smudges, more evil, more chaos. And this thing here, they were all trying to defeat, didn't seem to be alone. They thought they were 4 professionals having a long night. They were right about having a long night. They had the demon cornered in the west wing. It stood the young folks up like a puppet and looked at Achin's warrior out of the girl's borrowed eyes. Not all of the warriors made it alive. It smiled. The warriors seemed to be distressed. Is that it? Are they to kill a child? But it killed some of their brothers and the people of the manor, and now Niue was standing in front of it, caught by Lan Sheng's magical threads, her hands spread as if she tried to cover for the demon behind. You don't know who you're standing with, said the child in a voice too big for it. Tipped the small head towards the sister. Ask them who they are. Go on, ask them why their shadows don't sit right, and why the one in front of me seems to be so distressed with the threads. Achin's people had hunted demons too long not to hear it. Swords came up. Not at the monster now, at Wang Haoyue and Niue. The masks slowly dropped. No point holding them. Wang Haoyue stood before her little sister, now shielding both her and the demon child, and let the glamour go, and there it was. The 2 bright eyes made of gold, the shape of 9 tails that hadn't been there a breath before, the ears sticking out of the hair, foxes, demons by the only word the hunters had for it. 2 of them, in a courtyard full of drawn steel, looking very much like the thing everyone had come to kill. It got loud and stupid pretty fast. A warrior lunged. Niue turned his blade aside with the flat of her hand and didn't hurt him, pushing herself backwards. Lan Sheng took his threads back. Wang Haoyue had 2 more of their feet before they'd finished deciding to move, the way you put down children mid-tantrum. Lan Sheng stepped his weight between the foxes and didn't draw a thing. Just decided to be a wall between them so things don't escalate further. Yanchen stood in the middle of it, sword half up, caught between the people he'd come with and the woman he'd started keeping score with not so long ago. "They're foxes," one of his immortals said, like it settled it. Yanchen looked at him. That was the moment the demon had been waiting for, the moment they all spent looking at each other instead of at it. It hadn't been idle. Fear and confusion feeds it, and there had just been a great deal of fear and confusion. It surged, fat and fast, the child's small body coming apart at the edges into something done pretending to be small, straight at Niuas, who was the closest. The whole courtyard remembered at once what it had actually come for. Wang Hao Yue moved first, lunching. He lifted the pendant. The demon's borrowed eyes snapped to it, helpless, the way a starving thing snaps to a smell. And in the half second, Yanchen made his choice. He lowered the blade instead of raising it, because she'd told him to, back at the well, and because some part of him had already decided which side of the courtyard he was standing on. He rose up his empty hand and whispered a spell into the thin air. The beast, still mid-jump, seemed to slow, while the warrior appeared right behind it, now with his sword pointing into its neck. He looked at Niue, and she reached. She did the only thing she could do, the thing she'd never have a name for. She reached past the demon, into the fox, and found the small, bright, frightened tear made of moonlight, folded up in there, refusing to go out. She went through the beast, now holding a child, as if the beast was made of air. Achin caught her gently, helped her to her feet, and instantly jumped back towards the beast. Arm in arm with Lansheng, they took the demon in the breath. Over in a minute, maybe two. The immortals lowered their swords slowly and didn't quite apologize and didn't quite leave either. Achin threw a cord he took out of the demon, looked at them, and it was enough for them to disappear as if they were never here. Afterwards, in the wrecked courtyard, Wang Haoyu and Lansheng stood by the broken wall and looked at the pendant between them. "You came for this, not only for the child, right?" he said. "I did." "It's yours. Take it." He lifted the cord. She was surprised at first. She thought about the smudge they followed, and how it hadn't been the first this season, and about the evil waiting at the edge of things. She thought about which of them was likely to meet it first. "Keep it," she said. "You will need it more than we will, given what's coming." "You don't know what's coming." "No. But I feel this decision is right. I stopped second-guessing my own guts a long time ago. It's the part of me I trust completely." She let that sit. "Then, before he could be tender about it, you owe me." "I'll collect eventually. I'm patient and my memory's excellent." "I'm starting to learn that about you." "Oh, you have a lot left to learn. That takes time." "Then the time I'll take," he said. "I've decided to." She answered with a faint smile. A little way off, Achin had sat down in the rubble beside Niue, uninvited, close enough to be a statement and far enough to be deniable. On her lap slept a small white fox. "Maybe the legends about a young master of the dragon sect are true after all. There was quite a show of martial arts," she said. "High praise from the woman who reached into a monster and pulled a child out of it barehanded. I'll take it. I'll have it engraved. Next to my name and yours?" He smiled and wiped a drop of blood from her cheek, only making it more spread like an uneven blush. They both felt it. Neither said so. Saying so would have ended the game, and neither of them wanted the game to end. That was the night the four of them met. They didn't know they were four of anything yet. They thought they were strangers who shared a bad evening and would scatter by morning. They were wrong about the scattering, and right, in the end, about the bad evening.